Okay, this video is over Module 1. In this video, you'll learn how to figure out the number of protons, electrons, neutrons in an atom. Also, you should learn how to identify the atomic number and the mass number. Okay, so the first thing is how to figure out the number of protons. So when you're given the atom symbol, like this stands for boron right here, well, you can look at the periodic table and you can find boron. It's atom number 5 right here, element number 5. And so here I blew it up a little bit. And so the atomic number is number 5 for boron, and it's always going to be a whole number. It's not going to be the ones with the decimals down there. Okay. The one with the decimals at the bottom, we're not really talking about that right now in this video, but that's called the average atomic mass. We'll learn later how to calculate that. Okay, but the atomic number is 5. Okay, and the atomic number always equals the number of protons, so the protons will also equal 5. And also in an atom, the protons equal the electrons. So if you know the protons, you know the electrons. And all atoms are neutrally charged and protons are positive. And so 5 positives will cancel out 5 negatives. Okay, now to figure out the neutrons, you have to know a special formula. And basically the formula goes protons plus neutrons equals the mass number. All right, now the mass number is given right here. This 11 right here, that stands for the mass number. Now you can get the mass number two different ways. Okay, it can be like boron dash 11, that dash number, that's the mass number. Or it can be written a slightly different way, and this one is written upside down. I don't know who did that, but it should be 511 up here. So it should look like boron 511. Okay, it should be like that. But you can also get the mass number when it's written in this format from the top number. That's the mass number. Okay, so in this case, in this sample problem, the mass number for boron is 11. Okay, you cannot get the mass number from these decimal numbers. Do not use these numbers here. Do not use those. That's called the average atomic mass. The mass number will be a whole number that you get by adding the protons plus the neutrons. So if you just think what number, so if the protons are 5, we don't know the neutrons, but that has to equal 11. What number plus 5 equals 11? Well, that number is, let's see here, I got to get back to the pen. That number is number 6. Okay? And neutrons are neutral charge, so they don't have a charge. So, okay, so protons plus neutrons equals mass number. Okay, let's go try a couple of different types of problems here. Okay, so you're often going to see these things called Venn diagrams. And so here we have, this would be called lithium 7. It's written in this format right here. It could also be written Li-7, okay, which is called lithium 7. Well, the protons are the atomic number, which is always this number right there. So the bottom number, that's called the atomic number. Okay, the top number is the mass number. So the protons will always equal the atomic number, and the protons always equal the electrons. Protons plus neutrons, so if I add these two together, they have to equal the mass number. So 3 plus what equals 7? The answer is 4. Okay? Let's do nitrogen 16. Okay? 16 is the mass number. All right? But protons will always equal the atomic number. Now, if it's not written in this format over here, but it's written like this, you're going to have to use the periodic table, find nitrogen, and you'll see that the atomic number is 7, so that's equal to the protons. The electrons always equal the protons in an atom. All right? Now you got to think, protons plus neutrons, if we added those two together, they have to equal the mass number, which is 16. So what number plus 7 equals 16? And the answer is 9. Alright? Protons plus neutrons equal the mass number. Okay, let's try another one. Okay, oxygen 17. Well, in this case, this is pretty easy because this way, the format, you don't really need a periodic table because they give you the atomic number at the bottom. So that's the protons. Protons always equal electrons. And then the top number is the mass number. So protons plus what number of neutrons equals 17. And that number is going to be 9. Because 9 plus 8 equals 17. Okay, here's one where we have carbon 14. Now, when they give it in this format and you don't have a periodic table, you're going to need to look at it. And so let me go back here and find carbon. Carbon is atomic number 6, so that means it has 6 protons. It also has 6 electrons. Protons always equal electrons in an atom. Then protons plus neutrons have to equal the mass number. And so that's going to be equal to 8. 6 plus 8 is 14. Okay, one last thing that you got to be able to do is fill out a table like this. And so, anyway, if they give you the atomic number, you automatically know that that's the number of protons and the number of electrons. And the protons plus the neutrons have to equal the mass number. Then, if we know it's atomic number 6, we can find the symbol, which is carbon, and we want to show which isotope of carbon it is, so we go carbon dash, and atoms are always named, or the symbols are always written with their mass number, so it's carbon 14. Okay? Okay, hydrogen 1. Okay? So we look at hydrogen and we have to find the atomic number, and so that's going to be number 1. That means it has 1 proton, 1 electron. Now, this number right here is the mass number, is also 1. Protons plus neutrons have to equal the mass number. Well, 1 plus what equals 1? And the answer is 0. Yes, hydrogen 1 does not have a neutron. It's only 1 proton, 1 electron. Okay, here's one with the mass number of 5, which doesn't really help us so much, but the electrons will help us. Okay, 2 electrons means it has 2 protons. And if we know that it has 2 protons, we know that its atomic number is also 2. And because the mass number is equal to the protons plus the neutrons, we know that the neutrons are 3. And then what we can do is we can find the symbol. So we go to the protons and we find element number 2, which is helium. Okay, so we go helium dash, and then the symbol for it is always the mass number, so it's going to be called helium 5. Alright, one thing to avoid doing, do not use the mass number to try to figure out the identity of like what element it is, because different elements have different isotopes, and so there's a variety of mass numbers that are possible for a single element. Alright, that's it with this video.